This conference will now be recorded.
Hi everyone, how's it going? I hope you're all well and that you're safe, and hopefully enjoying a little bit of sunshine. Now, welcome to part 3 of the Your Future Aspirations webinar series for further education. So yeah, we have done quite a bit so far, and this is the final piece where we can hopefully be summarizing a lot of that learning and sort of adding to what we have covered already. So, quick recap, I think, is in order. Again, like we said, just to make sure we fully remember everything that we covered previously. So one of the first things that we reflected on, well, one of the first things that we did rather, was thinking about how we learn. What kind of people are we? So we did the I Could Buzz quiz. We figured out what our animal was, the kind of traits that we have, which was great. And hopefully we figured out some jobs or some ideas of what we might be good at going future, or what might work for us. As well as that, we also kind of defined what is a skill, what is a quality, what are the differences between them, and what kind of skills and qualities you might need to do a particular job well. Because obviously different jobs are going to need different talents, aren't they? Right. So those were kind of some of the key things that we covered last time. So moving on from that, I want us to again have a little think. So we have looked at skills, we've looked at qualities, we've looked at kind of ourselves. I think it's about time we had a little bit of a think about what skills and qualities we have as individuals. What do we want to build on? And do we have any goals or any aspirations that we want to achieve? So, in order to do this, we're going to do a little action plan. So that is going to be on worksheet 4, which is saved in here, which you should have access to. I've already got it open, mind you. So we've got a very simple action plan here. We'd like you to do a little list of what skills you have already in this column. What qualities do you have already in this column here? What do you need to build on to get to your dream job or course here? And how are you going to get there? So for an example, just so you can kind of visualize in your head, I've given examples there for a young person who was a rapper, and his dream and his job that he wanted to do was to be a professional musician. He wanted like someone like Stormzy, you know, like a grime sort of urban artist. So these are some of the things that he said he had already. So his skills that he's learned and developed over time is he felt was his lyric writing and his flow, how he delivers his punchlines and his bars. Those were kind of the things that he's learned and he's refined over time that he thinks he's really strong at. In terms of qualities, just sort of things about his personality more than the actual art of rapping, is he's pretty good at involving and interacting with the crowd while he's on stage, encouraging them to participate, a bit of call and response from them, that kind of thing. Really, really good live show and stage performer. And that is partly just because of his personality. What does he need to build on to get his dream job, which is, I guess, I don't know, signed to a label? I didn't get the exact goal, but to get what he wants or where he wants to do, what he needs to build on is he needs to increase his fan base. He needs to have regular content released on social media, lots of posts, in things that people will like to engage with, and regular releases So people that are following him on Apple Music or Spotify, you know, they're getting lots of new music all the time. And so he knows what he needs to do, but how is he going to get there? And this is kind of the important one. Well, they're all important, but one of the more important bits is what tangible actions is he going to take? So he is going to learn more about social media marketing because there's an art to it. So he's going to probably do some kind of course on social media marketing so he can up his game. And then he's also going to record lots of new music, and he needs to make a release strategy and approach promoters about getting bookings or tours and things booked. And this says for 2019 because this was a year or two ago that this was done. So those are the 4 questions that you need to be answering as well. Think about what is it's okay to not know what you want to do for a job, but think of something that is interesting to you. It could be that you're like, oh, I'd actually quite like to be an Instagram influencer. How do I go about that? Or actually, I'd quite like to be a mechanic. How would I go about that? You could use the internet. You can do a little bit of research to see what do I need to do to get here. And if you do want to do a little bit of research about what courses and things you need to do in order to get a particular qualification or get into a certain role, one thing that you could use, which is really good, is job profiles on the National Careers Service website. Okay, so if you go on here, explore careers, you don't have to do this bit, by the way, but say, for example, if you are saying that I would like to be a mechanic, I know the skills and qualities I have already, but what do I need to build on? Or how am I going to get there? Maybe you could, oh, this is the wrong page. You could go in here and say mechanic, motorcycle, cycle, motor mechanic, and it gives you lots of good information about that job. Whether you work, what time you work, how many hours a week, what kind of money you could make, how to get into that job. And there is lots of different options about courses, apprenticeships. So it might be worth a look. Obviously, this isn't a mandatory part, but what I'd like you to do is to go through this action plan and complete what skills you have, what qualities you have, what you need to build on, and then how you're going to get there. So I'm going to pause this now, or I'm going to ask you rather to pause so you can do this worksheet. Away you go. Great. So hopefully now you've had an opportunity to do your action plan. So that would be really, really great for you to kind of look over that action plan with whoever your teacher is. If you have a careers advisor at your college or your training provider, talk to them about what your goals and your aspirations are, because there is their job to try and help you to get to whatever your next stage is. That might be staying wherever you are now. That could be going on to do something completely different. But there should be people at your college or training provider that are in a good position to try and help point you in the right direction. Failing that, you can always come see us as well at the Youth Employability Service. And I'll make sure that at the end of this, I give all our contact details. All right. Cool. So moving on. your future self. So, so we've had a look at where we would like to be in the future. So what I would like us to think about now is think a little bit more ahead of that. If we had a specific goal, what do we want our life to look like in 30 years' time? I know that's quite a big question, maybe a bit scary even, but hopefully it'd be quite fun as well. So, activity link 4, which I'm going to show you now. If you go onto activity link 4 and click this, it will take you to the App Store. So you probably want to do this on your phone or on a tablet, but it's completely free. But it will take you to this aging booth app. So if you download that, you take a selfie and then click the button and it will age your selfie apparently for 30 years in the future. Just a bit of fun. So once you have downloaded that app, what I want you to do, take the picture, age yourself. So this is me. I look knackered. Right, so this is me in 30 years' time. And these arrows and boxes are some of the goals and things that I hope that I will have achieved in 30 years' time, where I want to be in that future. So a little bit about me. I'm a careers advisor, but I've had quite a lot of other careers and things I've done in the past before that. So I am in many ways still training. So by the future, it's definitely by the time of 30 years, I hope anyway, I will have completed my level 6 the sort of certificate or diploma in careers advice and guidance to be very highly specialised in what I do. I'm hoping I would have had a long and successful career as an advisor here at the My Trust in the Youth Employability Service. And I think I'd quite like to also be a careers advisor at a university as well. So Sussex Uni being the closest one, that would be a good goal that I would have liked to achieve. And because I've had such a good and long successful career, I'm now a freelance trainer or teacher for people that are studying to become careers advisors. I think that would be quite a cool role. And look at me, I'm old now. I've done all right in my career, so hopefully now I own my own house and that the mortgage is nearly paid off, so I can cut my hours down, actually enjoy a bit of life, have chill on the beach. And oh, bit premature there. I would also like to be preparing for retirement and hopefully going somewhere nice and hot. Jamaica sounds good, defos. So what I would like you to do now is once you have got your photo and you're saying hello to your future self, I'd like you to maybe on a piece of paper write some things about what you would have liked to achieve or what you would like your life to look like when you're, well, in 30 years' time. So I'm going to give you a few minutes to do that. So if you just like to pause, and then I'll speak to you again in a second. Excellent. So that's part one of your future self. So hopefully now you've got a few points of what you would like to have achieved and a few details of how you'd like your life to look in the future. So what we're going to do now is a little bit abstract, but humour me, please. I'd like you to imagine that you are now having a conversation with your future self, who has obviously achieved all these things that you set out to do. What 3 pieces of advice do you think the older you would give you now? So, you in the future, what advice would you give yourself now in terms of making sure that you stick to those goals and that you achieve them? I'm going to ask you to pause again and have a little go at this. I know it's a little bit more difficult sometimes, involves a little bit of imagination, but take your time, have a think about it. Right, well, hopefully now you've had a bit of time to do those activities. And again, you can maybe use the writing, things you've done, speak to your teacher or your tutor. It might be that you can use some of this as some evidence if you're doing maybe some units on employability, or if you're doing some units on personal development. All of these activities, whilst they're quite useful and they're not really, you're not being assessed on them, you could use some of this as evidence maybe to show how you're thinking about developing in the future. So if you can, maybe chat to your teacher about it. Right. So we have covered quite a lot of stuff over these last 3 webinars, haven't we? We've done a number of things. So I just wanted you to have a little bit of a reflection now. And by reflection, I mean thinking about some of the key things that we've discussed, not just today, but in the other webinars that we've done. So we thought a lot about what is education, what it means to you as an individual, what were your experiences like, what makes education good, what makes it bad, and obviously looked at some of the barriers potentially in people wanting to participate, things like failing exams, that kind of thing. We also took a bit of time to look at what are the differences between school and further education that you're in now, what options there are, which different pathways can you use to get to where you want to go, what works for you. Also, we looked at differences in personality, how they affect potentially our choices on what we're good at. We looked at skills and qualities. What skills and qualities might you need to do different roles? And most recently, we have even reflected more on an action plan of what our own personal skills and qualities are, what we need to build on, and how we're going to get there. And we've also thought about way into the future, what do we want our life to look like in 30 years? And what would our elder selves advise us to do now? It's quite a lot of stuff, quite deep actually. So thank you for participating and joining me on that. Lots of different things that we've covered. So that leads us on quite nicely to our final task. All right, and then that will be the end of me for now. But obviously, if you want to hear more, you want to speak to me more, then I will give you our contact details in a little bit. So this final worksheet, it's not so much a worksheet as such, but if you go on to this one where you had the link from previously, go down to the one last thing and click on that SurveyMonkey link. This is really important that you do. So please do not finish this webinar without doing this. I'd like to know what activities you enjoyed most and why, what activity you found most useful and why, how these webinars can be improved, because I've never done this before. These are my first webinars I've ever made. So I'd really like to know from you lot how I can make it better. If there's things I should cut out, things I should change, let me know. And also, just on a scale of very likely to very unlikely, how likely are you to continue in some form of education after you've done this course? Has what we've spoken about, has it made you think differently? Let me know. It'd be really good to know. So like I said, only 4 questions, won't take you long, and then just whack on done. If you can do that for me, please, that would be great. And I think that has brought us to the end of our webinar series. So I just wanted to say a really big thank you to all of you for participating and getting involved. I'm very excited to hear all of your feedback about this series, how it can be improved. And I wish all of you all the best in whatever journey you go on to take after you're doing this course. And like I said, in terms of contacts for us, the Youth Employability Service, we are on Instagram. We are also on Facebook. So East Sussex, yes. Check us out. You can also Google us, and then the phone number will come up. Youth Employability Service, East Sussex. We've got an Eastbourne office, we've got a Hastings office, but as well as having those 2 bases, we do have a presence across the whole county. So as long as COVID is happening, we are doing remote meetings. Otherwise, hopefully when things have calmed down, we can do face-to-face support as well. So thank you again. Wish you all the best. Bye.